was 1998. I stood on the doorstep of a home in a quiet neighborhood in Chula Vista, California. Roses grew along the low wooden fence, and I could tell by the way they were pruned that someone truly loved them. As a newly minted insurance agent representing Medicare Advantage plans to seniors, I was there to visit with a potential client. I knocked on the door. A woman answered. When I told her who I was and why I was there, she pointed to the side of the home. "They live over there," she said. Brimming with enthusiasm, I headed over to the garage that had been converted into a small studio. I was greeted by an elderly gentleman who walked into the corner of their tiny kitchen while his wife and I sat at a card table in the center of the room. I started my presentation. No monthly premiums, no copays to see the doctor, no copays if admitted into the hospital. Suddenly, this man stood up, slammed his hand on the table. "Tell me the truth," he demanded. My pen had flown off. If my wife was to get on the roof, suffer a stroke, fall off the roof, get transported to the hospital via ambulance, and remain in the intensive care unit for several days, what would we have to pay? "Zero," I responded quickly. "Tell me the truth," and he slammed the table again. I grew quite nervous. I went to my binder, found the benefit, and quoted it. "Zero, sir, you would pay $0. Unexpectedly, this tall, thin man dropped to his knees. His face fell into his wife's lap. Tears began to flow. "I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. I ruined it all for us," he cried. She motioned for me to step outside, so I walked out. What did I do wrong, I wondered. I could not understand what had just transpired. A few minutes later, I was invited back in, and they shared this story. The husband was a construction worker. He did it his entire life. That accident that they shared was real, and it had happened to him. He built a home for his family. That was his dream. He converted the garage into a rental unit. But then that unimaginable accident took place. After days in the ICU, the family had a mountain of debt that they were facing. Almost $800,000 in medical bills. About $200,000 was their share. And they couldn't afford that. So they asked for help. Sadly, they did not qualify for any assistance because they reported they owned a rental unit. The man was proud, retired. He felt guilty and responsible to pay. So they sold their beloved home with one condition. They asked the new owners to allow them to rent the rental unit for the rest of their lives so that the wife could continue to tend to her roses while they remain near their friends. What makes the story even more tragic is the fact that not one person took the time to explain their healthcare options to them. And sadly, he had qualified for a plan that would have covered that incident all along. I enrolled both of them into a plan that made sense for them, and as I walked out, I was overcome by tears, anger, and all sorts of other emotions. I vowed that instant to do everything in my power to prevent that tragedy from happening to another senior. I went on to build a very successful insurance agency with one purpose: serving seniors. And I wanted us to be different. So I assembled a team of people that shared my passion and dedication towards seniors, who truly wanted their well-being and wanted to make a difference in their life. We set out to be different, and we are. We're very different. So how can companies around the world replicate our success? What's our secret sauce? It's all rooted in empathy, compassion, and treating clients like their family. In our business, there's no B2B or B2C. There's human to human, or H to H. That's what we embrace. We didn't invent the H to H label. We've just been using it since our inception. H to H allows you to empower your team to connect and step into the shoes of those they serve, to feel their pain, to understand it, help divide it, and in doing so, lighten the burden. How can we replicate this easily? What does this model look like, right? Especially if your organization serves people directly. Everything begins and ends with your team. So start by hiring compassionate people. Make sure they want to do and can grow into loving what you're already doing. Consider hiring people that have experienced hardship, in some cases extreme. We have hired people from all walks of life and all sorts of stories. We could write our own TV series. But it's those experiences, homelessness, abuse, domestic violence, even incarceration, that change them inside and give them what I call a superpower, super empathy. They have this keen ability to connect to people who feel lost, in pain, and in need of a safe place where they will not be judged and just helped. It turns out that empathy, compassion, and kindness are very contagious, vital to communication and connection to others, and extremely good for business. Our clients show us their gratitude with tacos and trinkets. They do. With souvenirs from their travels, with love, with hugs, with kisses, lots of blessings, and lots of referrals. There are months where over 60% of our production comes from referrals, not from fancy TV campaigns, advertising, radio, etc., but from people, human beings that truly like us and go out of their way to recommend us. So imagine customer retention that is based in love. If your clients love who they work with, they will stay. And talk about that experience as if it was a story with loved ones, friends, and coworkers. The human-to-human connection provides those who have suffered with a platform where they can convert pain into action. The results lift the burden of those they're serving and helps them heal their own emotional wounds. Our clients often tell us the day they came to see us was their lucky day, and that makes us feel like we're on top of the world. Embracing empathy and compassion at all levels within an organization allows us to build human connections that transcend the transactional nature of business. So let's remember that at the end of the day, we're all just people. And the love, kindness, compassion, and dedication we show to each other makes all the difference. Thank you.